Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Oukamp, co-founder of the CEO Business Club. Every Wednesday, we invite CEOs and founders who lead companies with great growth potential to share their journeys. I'm joined today by David Bauer from I Need an Expert, who will lead this discussion. Good morning, David. I am looking forward to the session with Nong Serote. Please introduce yourself and your guest. Over to you, David.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's really great to be here. It's David Bauer here from I Need an Expert, your online marketing platform for local experts in your area. Every Wednesday at this time, we introduce a new CEO to you. So today I'd really like to introduce our guest speaker, Nong Serote from Maetane Energy. Maetane Energy is a wholesale fuel supplier to the mining and automotive industries. It's an agile and hands-on supplier targeting undeserved small to medium-sized operations in the mining and automotive industries. They specialize in serving truck stops, depots, car dealerships, junior miners, and the entity is locally owned, South African owned, and is 100% Black owned. Thank you. Morning, Serote. Great to have you here. Nong Serote, welcome. So,
morning, David.
Could you describe to us the possible problems that your potential customers are experiencing in the energy industry that your company can resolve?
Thank you, David. The beauty of the problems we solve is that everybody's looking for high volume, high profit. And unfortunately, in industries today, when you're looking at building small and medium enterprises, the guys cannot give you the volumes, the big majors, which when I talk about the big oil companies, it's like Shell, Total, and Engine. They're more interested in high volume, quick returns kind of businesses whereby they can deliver buckets and buckets loads of products they produce. And what happens is the home-based customers that get neglected. They don't get the same terms, they don't get the same discounts, so they cannot compete. So it makes it difficult for the small enterprise to survive because he's buying any of his products or he's supporting oil products at a premium instead of at a discount. So that's where we come in and offer those services at the request of the customer with a bit more flexibility to suit their needs, you know, and real just-in-time deliveries, not that where they can sit with products for too long and they cannot afford to purchase. And you can see the oil prices that are skyrocketing today. It makes sense for small business to buy as and when they need. And because we deliver at our locations, we make it easier for them to operate so they can focus on the operations, put on order either on our application or they do a normal order by email just as we go along. And it gives them that flexibility. Thank you, David.
So, no, just to understand, so basically what your business is doing is actually giving smaller supply to smaller businesses so they actually can afford to actually purchase your product. And I assume that this is basically all fuel, you know, diesel and petrol, etc. And what you're doing is actually taking that and then supplying it to them in smaller quantities so they can afford to buy it. And basically, I think the most important thing that you said was that it is just in time. Is that correct?
Perfect, just in time. It gives them that flexibility because we've managed to blend that scorecard with our business model to say, you know, you negotiate with the suppliers, and we found other wholesalers that have bigger accounts with the major accounts, so that they can offer us their products that are excess, and we offer it in turn to our customers, so that although they don't have the wholesale license or they cannot buy in bulk, they can still order from us. Augmented products. So it's not just basically fuel, diesel or petrol, but it can be any other products like diesel dyes or supporting instruments that can help the operations, whether it's measuring tools to measure stock levels, automated real time, to see if the levels are fine. Diesel dies specifically to prevent theft. I mean, because if the diesel's died and they find it in your vehicle, then it shows that you actually didn't buy from the garage, you took from the tank on site. So and there's regular inspections like that at premises, at fleet companies that do that, and obviously mining operations and truck stops themselves.
Okay. Now, I think that's a fantastic solution, especially in the small industry that we have in South Africa. But now, what I'd like to really understand is, your business. Can you tell us a little bit about your business itself and how it started?
It's family based, just like any other big business that starts. It all starts with your own family. You look so big because your family support, and you all have diverse skills. Your kids will never be the same, or your extended family. So my brother is an engineer, the other one's an accountant. So the other one did modeling, the other one did the costing. And we came up with this wonderful idea. I think that was in 2012. But unfortunately, or fortunately, in a sense, the barriers of entry in this segment is very high. Before you get the licensing, unless you bribe and you have corruption, or that you'll wait forever. The queue is long to get a wholesale or a retail license. And obviously the financial responsibility and capital input is very high. So, and nobody wants to look at your registration at any supplier or any support base. And finding a customer is also difficult, because they know that people can onboard you, but your chances of performance are very little. So what happened there is that because of my experience in sales for many years, I was in automotive sales with one of the big groups for a very long time, Bidvest, and even opened my own dealership, an Inspector car dealership. So I was very good at sales. So what I did is I'll do the business development side of things, and I asked my support team on the other side to say, you look after the technical side, and the structuring and the strategy side of things, we'll blend it together. And it wasn't that difficult to find customers. But the biggest strange thing is that they made it more difficult for you to even join in, because the first thing is what the customer does, he confuses commodity and finance and insurance. They blend, and they try and fudge the responsibility onto you. And so even if you're speaking to a CFO or the CEO, they pretend they don't understand you, but they do. If you're buying a product, you buy the product. If you want to finance it, you speak to the bank or somebody that will finance you, or you speak to an angel investor, and they know all those things, or they can do a fundraise on some capital markets, or somewhere they could find the money. But they somehow squeeze the small guy that comes in. Actually, it's technically to exclude you. I found that strategy to say, bugger off and leave. And they want those terms from you. And they fudge. Obviously, once you give credit, you also need insurance. So obviously, there's another segment. If you have credit insurance, which prices that product already out of the market. So it takes a lot of negotiation skills, and because there's always challenges, you have to consult with business chambers locally and negotiate with them. You don't go very far, because unfortunately the township business chambers, there's the technical skills in negotiations is not very high. They're very more combative. They burn tires, and to go negotiate with the mines or industry or bus companies, it's difficult to negotiate with somebody that's already combative. So somehow I found a way to go on my own, although I was still part of the chamber. But when I did the negotiations, I actually went alone. But it was quite robust debates, but it took a bit longer. But instead of getting 30 days, I managed to negotiate 5 days. Sometimes they decide not to pay you, sometimes they do. And sometimes you do burn your fingers, because the biggest mistake you did, that I've done also, is once you agree to those terms, if they choose not to pay you, it means you can't turn your money. And any industry works on sweating your cash.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
So it sounds like I wanted to ask you obviously the fuel industry is regulated, and I understand that diesel basically is we can decide what price it is.
Mhm.
Perhaps you can
Yes.
explain to the listeners a little bit about that so we can understand, where the price competitiveness is within the diesel pricing, and perhaps the difference between diesel and fuel. Why is one regulated and why the other one isn't?
Initially, I think where it came in, because if you look at it, most commercial products, most commercial mass market products that are marketed out there are delivered with diesel products. So the poorest of the poor, to get to them wherever they are in Zanin, wherever, if you had to tax and say pay max retail, or it's regulated retail, and every company had to pay retail on petrol, but it's highly unlikely a commercial vehicle, a truck or a pickup is actually using petrol. So what to regulate diesel as wholesale, it's somehow like it was created as a zonal strategy. So whereby obviously if you have to deliver it in Tanin, it's going to be more expensive than if you're picking it up in Durban. It doesn't have to be piped down or whatever. Then whoever that's local enjoys that benefit. And the other advantage is that if it's wholesale, there's a grid price. So we all guided by a grid price that's given out every month by the Department of Energy. And based on the size of the wholesaler or how you negotiate with your supplier, you can get as maximum discount you can, and you pass on that discount to your customer. And because he's your volume customer, he's reliable, he pays cash, he can save himself maybe R1 a liter. And that makes a huge financial saving for any business. And obviously, what that does is, if you find that food in a Pick n Pay or in a retail setup, it was transported at a discount, and the consumer at the end isn't billed unnecessarily extra for just transporting the commodities into the shop.
Okay, so now as far as what you're saying is basically with petrol, and I don't know if it's with paraffin and gas as well, that those are fixed pricing, or are they? Can a retailer actually sell those the commodities at different prices or not?
With paraffin and gas, it's also regulated, but there's a guide, and obviously that's only regulated wholesale, just like diesel, only because it impacts the poorest of the poor also. I think that's where the government came in a strategy, because whoever burns that paraffin is probably sitting in a squatter camp or something, cooking with it in the background, and you don't want to be overpriced and taxed, because if you say only strict one price fits all at retail, then it doesn't work. If the guy can get it at a discount, let them get it at a discount. And gas is also cheaper, but you can see the prices differ. It varies from area to area, from point to point.
So now, taking your company and what you do, how do you help the small business with regard to these price differences and the discounts that you can offer?
The beauty of it is the customer actually almost determines that, because it's very competitive. Trust me, there's so many wholesalers and there's so many people that are unreliable. So it makes it easier. It's like where I used to be in the used car sales market. There's many cars, but there's so many scammers. So the beauty about it is the customer, once they get to trust you, it's a relationship. So that even if they offer him a cheaper price next door, he's not sure if the product's contaminated. And because there's so many crooks in the industry with contaminated product that break machinery, break equipment, it's easier to stick where you are and negotiate in fair value. But the market is very easy, just like life. It's not very complex. It's actually the people that complicate it by taking shortcuts, especially when prices skyrocket like today. So when the market goes up like now, where prices go up by almost R1 on the diesel, you do expect a lot of contamination of the diesel and fraud in the industry. So for clients, it's easier for a company like mine to say, rather stick in your lane, because it can get more expensive. Because if your big equipment breaks, you're looking at 200,000-300,000, where you are trying to save only 20 cents or 30 cents from my side.
Wow. So, you're talking about contamination, and I've heard about biofuel and people actually taking old fuel and converting it into diesel, for example. Now, is that what you're talking about with regard to contamination?
Most of the contamination happens when as you mentioned, paraffin is a lot cheaper. And what most of the wholesalers do is, if you request a high discount, they contaminate your diesel supply and put in 20% of with it. With paraffin, it's cheaper, then they produce more and they can give you the discount you want. Unfortunately, it's not sustainable. In fact, the paraffin is good in winter because it keeps the diesel at the right temperature, but only the specific quantity with ratios. But these guys go crazy. They can go up to 40 or 60%, which makes it like looking at your heart and it's trying to pump and it's pumping water instead of blood. And that blood is diluted and it can't get enough oxygen to the brain. And that's what exactly happens to your machinery or your equipment or your car. If the blend is incorrect, what happens is that your car doesn't pump, your engine seizes.
So there's a lot of trust that needs to happen in this industry, it seems. And as you said earlier, relationships within the industry is the most important thing. So, I mean, and I can understand it's tremendously competitive, especially when, one knows the ins and outs of actually being able to pass on a better discount by actually, including various contaminants, as we could call them, into the fuel price. So I must say, obviously yourself, your company, you are dealing with these things all the time. But now, how do you ensure that you actually, when you buy your fuel, that it's first of all not contaminated, and second of all, how do you actually ensure that your client is basically satisfied that you're not doing that?
Like I said, it's quite easy. I think you test from end to end. What we do is we test from obviously we test from the supply side. They check the density, everything up front. Although even from the majors, you'll find that even from any of the big guys, at some stage they find that diesel it's not up to the right density. Then they adjust it accordingly. Fortunately, they produce in-house, they can remedy immediately. But if you're downstream, you got to get the product as is clean and delivered as is clean. But you test when you deliver by the customer so that it's no fault from your side. Because there can be theft from the customer side as well. So, what's strange is one of the mines I serviced, to be honest, some of the guys actually put in water when they stole the diesel. But fortunately, the water goes right to the bottom. It doesn't actually mix up with the diesel. But the problem comes in is when they start running out and they ended up pumping up water up to the front and it broke one of the equipment. But it couldn't have been you because you tested the product, it came inside. But they ended up catching the person and the securities that were involved, because you can't actually do it alone. Somebody, because they have cameras, they have measuring tools, but somehow somebody interfered with the equipment.
Sure. So obviously this is a very competitive industry, and to actually for your company to evolve over this time to actually become a major player in the smaller to medium sized industry is just absolutely amazing. I'd like to know, where do you see your company going over the next 5 years, Nong?
Yeah, in the next 5 years, I would love to partner with whoever that's importing product very well. I think the the opportunity presents itself today whereby gas is going to be the vibe of the day with the failure of Eskom with us, with load shedding that we're experiencing with gas. I'm moving into gas and paraffin. And there's a few stakeholders and partners, supply partners that I'm partnering with, that we're looking to partner with, and that are keen. You always need a big brother that will bring the downstream connectivity and mostly bring the gas to the households. And it's going to be, and most houses and new establishments are moving that way, and commercial enterprises. So they're moving into gas, and it's going to be the flavor for the next 10 years.
So good investment is gas.
Is gas.
So tell me a little bit now, obviously, as you were saying, there's a really competitive environment. And what area are you focusing on at the moment? Are you doing the whole of South Africa, or you're just focusing in Gauteng? Where are you actually focusing at the moment? Where's your business focus?
Our business focus at the moment is Gauteng and the Northwest, and a bit of Mpumalanga. Only because I think I had a business, and it's about relationships. I had relationships prior and before with my previous business in the Northwest, and it's a softer lending. When somebody knows you already, they know exactly what you can deliver. And once you scale out, and because the business actually incubated by Barlow World, we do deliver in Durban, so as part of our responsibility. So they're helping us scale in that portion, and we're looking forward to join other incubatorships, because that's the easiest way to get access to market. If you're a supply partner in incubation, they know you tick all the boxes, and they can track your company as they go, and they support you where you might be coming short.
Have you got plans to actually expand into other areas, other provinces in the country?
Definitely, yes. The difficulty is that, it could have accelerated faster, but COVID hit us very hard. I think we had put up a depot in Woodbank early January 2020. And unfortunately, we lost that whole $1 million. It was thrown in down the road. We went to Cape Town, went on holiday. We came back, we couldn't read the script. If somehow we had listened to, I think it's partly my fault as a CEO. I take the responsibility, because at some stage we had inside information about this COVID, but we weren't sure how much it's going to bite us. I think we've got enough biologists in our Rotary Club that we had some sense this but I didn't listen to the noise. But we continued with business. We never thought nobody saw it coming. So we put up the depot, and when we came back from Cape Town, I think our president said, it's lockdown. So it means all that money went into waste. So, and I had to find a way out of that lease. And 3 months or 4 months later, we managed to find a way out of it with a force majeure and an agreement with the landlord. So, and that was going to help us scale, because even further from there, we were going to move into the Northern Cape. But to take such a bruising at that time was not easy. And you were not generating revenue. I think everybody was still in pause mode, and we weren't sure when we were going to come out. But going forward, I think we've seen what is there and fortunately in South Africa, I mean, if you see even in Limpopo now, mining, there's so much illegal mining now. I think it should be formalized very quickly. So there's so many illegal quarries, and it's going to be the new Northwest that's just rocked up, and so there's opportunity. There'll be industry growing up. There'll be more smart cities. So I think going into Limpopo and the Free State, something like that, it's really on the cards.
Fantastic. So from what I'm understanding, you've had your company since 2012, is that correct? You've actually put
No, but it didn't operate since 2012.
Oh,
we couldn't get the license then.
Oh, all right. When did you start operating?
Yeah, because we didn't pay the bribe, because then that license was withheld. So I actually found out when it was issued. It was issued in November that year, but it was not given to us. They kept on saying it's not available. So I ended up going back to the automotive industry till 2015. So we started trading in 2017.
Oh, okay, great. So basically, what you've been doing is obviously building, and you've obviously got a lot of systems that you have put in place to ensure that you can actually grow your business. Can you describe some of those systems that you've actually done?
We've got, my brother is an industrial engineer, so he does the modeling of the systems in the background. He consults with other industries that are similar. So, but it's not easy when they are not yet implemented, to be say all of them. So it's not easy to sell them to a big brother because they're comfortable with the systems they're using. So what we do is internally, we've got the systems to track, source, supply, and we onboard the customer with the same tools. Whether they use it or not, it's their own option. But later in a while, what happens is they end up buying it into it after 3 or 4 years. It's only one customer that's using our portal to order and so on. But it's not easy as a smaller enterprise to get the big brother to say, use these tools. They actually work. They're smart. Obviously there's a big reporting structure in the big corporates, so they'd rather use what they've got, and that's it. But with growth strategies, with the tools that you're talking about is, and I think most of the customers don't. It's waste stock management system, stock ordering. I think we've got an app that can tell you in your warehouse what's there, what's not there, and those systems are real time. They're on board live on a laptop. What that does is we get to know our customers better. Sometimes they don't want us to get them to know them better. And it's actually to their benefit, but they probably, but those tools work. They help them with shrinkage. There's no shrinkage, and they know how to order real time. And I can actually advise them and say, should you order this? It will be better if you order and lead time. And instead of waiting right at the end when your product's finished, I can tell you real time and give you a dashboard report live and say, this is missing, this should be ordered, and it's sort of push selling. But it's to the benefit of the operation as well, because somebody could be on leave, but if it's automated and I can give it to the assistant and say, on the other side, let the operation continue. Let's not wait for somebody that's sick or ill that's sitting at home on COVID. But it's but slowly but surely we're winning them. We're winning the souls. It's not the most difficult thing, although the constant thing that's changed. It's change, and people are more comfortable in the spaces they're in. The minute you take them out of their comfort zone, they really feel uncomfortable. I remember one CFO telling me, "Nong, you're trying to tell me how to run my business." I said, I'm actually trying to save you money and make you look good. But we finally found each other.
Oh, fantastic. So what is your next big step that you're going to carry on with your business? What is the next steps that you're going to do now?
The next step currently is we strategizing. There's a depot we're setting up in the northwest, and it's just the village just outside Sun City, and it's an exciting tool. I think we've done the research. We've done all the numbers with our mentor and our support partners. And we've looked at the risks around it. We shouldn't burn with like we did with the previous depot. We're monitoring the wave very well, and there's lots of opportunity because now there's very little competition in the area, and there's growth potential. The mining, as you know, our mining resources run into Botswana and everywhere. So there's 30, 50, 60-year lifespan it will outlive us. So we know that it will be a safe investment. And there's growth in the area. There's generally all the mines are doing well. There's investment coming in, and there's political stability. I think the critical thing in those operations and in an area is to find that there's no disruption from the community and the locals that are fighting amongst themselves. I think that's also set us back quite a lot in our country. But the community is very, very relaxed. So and they understand each other. They're very old school in tribal culture.
Nong, thank you so much. You know, I think what you've done is you've got a great business. It sounds like you've got all the systems in place to deal with customers, to help them save money and so on. So how can we, as the CEO Business Club and fellow CEOs that are here today and that will listen to this broadcast, how can they help you?
The key is to find somebody that we could engage with, that would come in, look at the business model, and we could share the vision and the dream and what we could do with a bit more money. And should they find it appetizing enough? Because, you know, it's like cloning. It's like having the beauty about the business we have is that it's like having a small shop, like an engine down the street. If you're actually copying the model from one shop to the next, so it's not very complex. So it's just selling them to see. I don't even need to on-sell, just to see what the market potential is. Come and get the insights, and from there on, if they're willing to invest, we can scale even further. And we can change lives, because the advantage is the worst thing I could ever have done is retrenched in the recession. And I had to let one person go. It was very painful. But fortunately, the fellow is still studying. So I said to him, you know, you can come back later because you're studying a very technical degree. So, you know, it's just short term. And once you start creating a depot, already I can see 7 people that will be working. And you do that 10 times to 70 people. And what we can do to stop crime in our country and to get everybody working is that you give everyone dignity. And the moment you've got dignity, the economy grows, because what happens is that person is going to buy a car, then he's going to consume more of our products, you know. And the minute you give people buying power, it means the economy grows organically on its own. And that's what the guys can do. Just invest, just have a look, assess, and we'll give you the numbers, we'll give you the vision, we'll give you the inspection in loco, we'll go together and make it fun of it. You know, let's have fun while we grow our economy.
Thank you very much, Nong. How did people actually get hold of you?
Beautiful. We have a website, www.maetane.co.za, or contact me on my LinkedIn. Just look for me, Nong Serote. You don't need anything. The handles are there. And or my cell phone, 08288777634. It's forever available and open, you know, and you can either text me, we chat, and or we connect. There's various platforms. You wanted to introduce me to another one today. And I'm keen.
Fantastic. And where's your offices based, Nong?
We're here in mainland, just next to mainland mine, just in mainland here at Spaces. You know, it's a shared business space. And the beauty about it is that, you know, all companies that are in the building actually get to share ideas, and almost in diverse industries. So you can actually connect with many people. If you come visit me, you'll meet lots of friends.
I'll definitely come and visit you at Space.
Yeah.
I've been there before and it's really great. I got served good coffee.
Yeah.
Nong, just to sign off, what is your winning aspiration?
My winning aspiration is to create smiles in people. You know, there's so many grumpy people around the world. You know, if you're creating people's smiles and smile and be kind to the man next door, Doesn't matter how much you have. If you create a smile, you grow and they grow. And that's all. That's life. You know, if you warm other people's hearts, and they'll open up their wallets to you, and you'll grow. They will grow.
I love that, and you've certainly brought a smile to my face. So thank you so much. I know there were some tough questions there, and you answered them beautifully. And thank you very much for your participation here today, Nong. So if you want to get and invest in a business that's growing, that's got the systems in place, that's totally South African, then come along and contact Nong. You can get hold of him at, I'll spell that, www.maetane.co.za, or you can contact Nong at Nong, N-O-N-G, at maetane.co.za. And Nong's cell phone number, which you will probably take and answer any questions you have, is 082-887-7634. And if you're in Menlyn and near Spaces, go and visit him for a very nice coffee. So what I'd like to now do is open the floor to anyone here on Zoom right now who would like to ask a question regarding the fuel industry. I know it's it's going to hurt all our pockets with the increase in price. I know it went up just under R1, the diesel, last night, and perhaps there's some questions that you have. So I'm going to hand back to Peter, and then we can take questions from there.
Thank you, David, for a great interview, and thank you, Nong. What struck me of the interview is that we spoke to a businessman with vision and with heart. And you know, business is people. And Nong, congratulations for your attitude. And surely you have the customer in mind and the community, and you want to grow our economy. And what I see you offer the quality. I really now understand more about why quality is so important. You have a consistent service at a good rate that's available all over the country. And basically you offer a reliable offering and a value proposition. Thanks a lot, and thank you, David. Over to David.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you, Nong, and thank you. Let's just give a shout out to CEO Business Club. It's an organization run by Gerrit and Peter, and it's basically there to help you to grow your business. I'm part of CEO Business Club in that I'm doing this course with Dr. Wong. I must say I recommend that course to anyone who wants to grow their business and to actually understand business better. And for me, it's really working. So thank you very much for that. Well, Nong, I hope you and I can have a coffee sometime. It'll be really good. And I appreciate the chance to interview you. So thank you very much.